mean, granted, they're 5.5 back now. Okay. Chicago, and Andy, how long have we said Chicago's better than people have given them credit for?
Oh, it's been a while. No
We
question
have
about
given them absolutely, not we, as in you and I, but I mean, I think Detroit's baseball world has not given them nearly enough credit for what they have done. And what did we say over and over and over again? We've said, you know what? If our team, I want you to take your team, your favorite team is the Tigers. If they were in the position of the White Sox and there were people in Chicago not giving them any credit, you would be strongly offended.
Oh my gosh, that's all everybody would talk about here.
Absolutely.
That'd be the talk of the town for sure.
Andy, what do we have to do this?
Right.
And we have said throughout the baseball season when Chicago became pretty evident that they were a team that was going to be reckoned with. We weren't saying they were going to win the division, but they were going to be reckoned with. How many people did you know? That's what we asked. People know Andrew Benintendi. The more you play a team, the more you get to know them, right? But people hadn't been talking about Miguel Vargas. They weren't talking about Colin Montgomery. They weren't talking about, well, I guess they were talking about Murakami. It was Murakami and I think Benintendi, but only because Benintendi was, in Boston, Chicago, Kansas City for a spell. Not many people realized just how good this team was or is. And they're going to be, here's the other kicker, they're going to be a pain in this division for a while now because of their youth. You would think. Now, you can put that cart before the proverbial horse all day long. We have done that. People in baseball have done that for a long time. Why? All you have to do is go back to 2023. In 2023, the Baltimore Orioles were 101-61. That's an incredible record. The only team with a better record that year were the Atlanta Braves. They had 104. Dodgers had 100. Where is Baltimore now?
the whole core, you're wondering what happened to it.
Exactly.
That's the big part about them.
Absolutely. They had as good a young core as we thought in all of baseball. So I'm not going to sit here and predict, well, Chicago's going to be great for a long time. Detroit's going to be great for a long time. I don't know. I sure hope Detroit's going to be. But that was a painful weekend and a painful reminder for us to acknowledge, you know what? Chicago deserves a lot of credit. They are better, in all likelihood, than most people originally thought. And we always want proof, and we should want proof, by the way, in sports. We want proof that all the hype goes to a certain player. Arch Manning, a year ago. You wanted proof. You didn't get it right away from Ohio State. Doesn't mean that he's not capable. By the time the season was over against Michigan, he looked pretty good, right? It wasn't Heisman Trophy worthy. There were way too many people who thought he was going to win the Heisman. But you and I want proof all the time. Hell, last year, did you and I want proof of the New York Knicks?
Yeah, no question.
Okay. All right. So at some point, they're going to have to show you something in order for you to jump on that proverbial bandwagon.
Yeah, especially when you were as bad as the White Sox were for a couple of years before this. I think that's what makes it so hard and why people question them so much.
Great point. Yeah. Why is it we thought the Tigers were so good? I'm questioning myself here, okay? Because I'm the one. That's why I preface this by saying on Friday, Huge had me on and I said, hey, listen, they're going to win the division. Why is it that I would believe, or you would believe that, when they haven't proven that to us? Or let me put it this way. What have they done to prove to you and I that they're the best team in the division?
It's a good question. I mean, when you watch them every single night, probably helps that a little bit, I guess, more too. I would imagine that's part of it.
It should reinforce that they're not, don't you think?
With the season they've had, you'd think so.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why we have said numerous times, I think it's a little ridiculous that we're getting so pumped for a team that's a game under 500. Now, I think they're going to finish over 500. I still think they're going to win the division. But they haven't given you and I or anybody else, I think, in nearly enough proof that they can sustain success. I know you look at, well, Shep, June 1st to, yes. How long of a sample size is that compared to what they had done prior to June 1st and what they are at times now doing against other teams that are quality teams? I don't think Chicago's a World Series contender. I don't think anybody in the division is. But man, and they were close games. I don't know what that tells you either. 9-5, 4-3, 7-5. Tells you again that the bullpen's a problem.
Bullpen's a huge problem.
Okay. There was this thread. It's never going to end. I think fans at some point were like, you know what? Can we just shut up and move on with Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize? Neither one of them are part of this team any longer. Why is this still a thing? Let me ask you this. What other fan base are you aware of that belabors two players who are no longer part of your team? And thinking out loud that, well, everything would be different with those guys. Everything. In what way? Why do we assume that? We assume like we know all this. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, but this team had those kind of problems when those guys were here. It's not like this that never happened to them. Things like this.
You know how I feel about both those players. They're both really good.
They're great. You'd love to have them on your team.
I want good players. Detroit. Casey Mize was 4-6 here. Tarek Skubal was 7-5 here. Why do we automatically assume if they were on the bump against Chicago, things would have been different?
Even though it hasn't been Tarek's fault necessarily that they've lost those games in LA, they have lost all 3 games that he's been there.
That he started.
Exactly.
Not that he's been there, but that he started.
The point being is it's the same. Even with a team like the Dodgers, you can still lose games that he starts, by the way.
Were you and I confident Friday night about Troy Melton?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure.
100%. Don't tell me you weren't. You thought he had the best ERA in baseball. Okay? He would have been in the Cy Young conversation if he was qualified, right? We were on board with Troy Melton. How did he do Friday night or Saturday?
Not great. Slapped around.
Were you and I on board with Jackson Jobe?
Yeah, that was.
Okay. Was he got slapped around. These things happen. Don't give me this bull crap that if they had Skubal and they had Mize, they would not have been swept by Chicago, because you don't know. Now, would they have given them a better chance? I think that's fair to assume. But I think it's also fair to assume that going into the series with Jackson Jobe and Troy Melton, at some point, you and your buddies were talking and you were saying, I feel pretty confident we're going to win the series. Maybe not be sweeping Chicago, but feel pretty good you're going to win the series. Instead, they lose. They get swept. Where are you at with this team right now as the emotional roller coaster now takes you down? Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. The text line, Sports Radio 21,000. We've got Hero and Heel at 8:18. Mondays with Mitch at 7:18. Excited to be with you on a Monday morning on the Michigan Sports Network.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning.
Put your faves on repeat with new Meyer Subscribe. It's easy to add subscriptions with your Meyer home delivery or pickup order. From fridge and pantry to pets and paper towels, big, small, or in between. Subscribe to Purina, Pampers, and all your favorite brands. We'll shop as often as you like when you like. Just press set up a subscription while shopping and choose a frequency. We'll take care of the rest. New Meyer Subscribe keeps you supplied with what you need when you need it. Download the Meijer app to start a subscription with your home delivery or pickup order today.
I feel like you got to give these guys credit. They swing it, like you said. They're one of the best offenses in the game, but I felt like it was just the time of the hitting, the leadoff doubles to put pressure on, getting guys over, whether it be single, walk, whatever. I feel like a single in the next at bat. Next thing you know, it's first and third with no outs, and they did a good job. They jumped off. I feel like they jumped us a few times, and we had to play on our heels a little bit, but that's what good teams do. And you try to counter that, and you're definitely going to do a better job next time.
Dylan Dingler and his take on the weekend series. No panic there. No reason to. Chicago team that's got plenty of pop. I mean, a couple of 2-run homers yesterday and a solo bomb, 3 more homers for them. And they are 5th in all of baseball when it comes to home runs. They are a good offense. How do you measure a really good offense? Do you measure it by average, on base, slugging, OPS? It's a team that is 7th in all of baseball in slug. And I think that's important. They're 8th in OPS, on base plus slugging.
Yeah, I mean, the power department matters. It definitely mattered in this series. Shows you that. But yeah, I think overall it's obviously the amount of runs they're driving in, but I think the way that you do it does matter. I think this OPS is very important.
Yeah, for sure. I think the same thing. I think that's a reason a lot of teams now use those quote unquote analytics to their advantage, or at least to make it a serious part of their identity and how they want to look at teams overall, or look at their club, the makeup of their club. Either way, Detroit swept by the White Sox. Chicago getting the leadoff man on was really challenging. Put a lot of pressure on Detroit's pitching staff. When you use the word pressure, I know we like to think of it in a moment. If you're fans or members of the media, when baseball pressure it's about making you do things differently. So pitchers like to go from the windup for the most part. I would say 95% of them like to go from the windup. Well, when you get the leadoff man on, you're not going from the windup. You're going from the set position. Okay. So what does it do? It opens up a hole on the right side because the first baseman's holding you on. It's forcing the pitcher to do something differently. And it's forcing the catcher to call things differently too, because you've got a guy who might, unless it's Prince Fielder, might try to steal a bag on you. It also forces everybody else to, pay attention just a little. Their focus is a little bit more narrow there to make sure they're thrown to the right base. You have to think a lot more than you did before, is the point. So Detroit resting a 5.5 back in the division. As far as the wild card is concerned, and I know I've said I don't think a team from this division is going to the wild card. Well, suddenly you've got Texas ahead. They're a half game ahead. You've got Toronto a game back. Detroit is also a game back. Minnesota lost, so they're 1.5 back. The belief right now on August 17th that, Detroit's out of a playoff spot. It's the middle of August.
It's a game back.
I know we've got a large sample size on this team, but you still have a large sample size to go. So if that's the case, and you're within striking distance of the third and final wild card, there's really no reason to live with the emotions of up and down baseball right now. You take it as it goes, and this is a team that's going to go to Pittsburgh, and it's going to go to Kansas City, and it's going to be 2 series that you should win. Are you going to sweep both series? I doubt it, but you can, as long as you win both series, you stay in that proverbial hunt. It's not that I'm downplaying it by any stretch. I'm just telling you, it's there. There's no, if you were 10.5 back in the middle of August, I would think differently. You're 1 game back of the final wild card. It's not a huge deal. Now, you could also argue, had you swept and you could have been the number 2 seed in the American League, yeah, I think
it would definitely be a big swing.
But it's also the middle of August. I would have said the same thing if that were the case.
Yeah, they still have to hold it. Yeah, sure.
It doesn't mean we can't talk about it. It doesn't mean you can't bring up their negatives, and you can't dwell on some positives either, because there were some really cool things that have taken place with this team as of late. It seems like every time a guy makes a debut, I know this isn't exact, but every time a guy makes a debut, you feel pretty damn good because he's going to do something, and he does do something. Case in point yesterday, Brett Callahan. Pretty awesome, right? That was a really cool story. It was a remarkable story. So that's what oftentimes baseball brings you. Lions are going to use this week for their lone home preseason game against Washington. I was at practice yesterday. Defensive end Derek Moore did practice. I'm not going to lie, he didn't stand out. But I'll be honest with you, I was watching the offensive line more than anything else. And I was watching Isaac Tesla because I think Tesla hasn't been very good so far, at least in camp and in the preseason game. Yesterday, he was really good. I mean, he made a catch in the end zone right in front of me that was unreal. It was perfectly placed by Jared Goff. He still had to make the catch. And the secondary wasn't too bad either, by the way.
You're getting over and not letting that play get in your head is what that seems like to me then.
Yeah, that's well, you're getting over not letting your bad. It wasn't poor. It was a bad performance.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
In the first preseason game, not like to get to your head. Yeah. And that takes some strength from a guy who's still a young player. Scotty Scheffler wins the FedEx St. Jude Championship. He finished 17 under par to win by 8. Big reason for his success in Memphis was the flat stick. He led the field in putting during the week. It's the 10th time on tour that he's won by 4 shots or more of the 21 wins he has. He has 20. Remember, I asked you last week, we were talking about Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas. Are they overrated?
Yep.
And then I asked you the number of majors they have. And then I asked you the number of wins. Thomas has 2 more wins than overall and PGA Tour wins than Jordan Spieth, which, they showed him quite a bit. I don't know if you watched any of the golf tournament over the weekend. They showed him quite a bit, and I was thinking of you because I like the real feel of golf when you can pick up some Nat sound and the conversation that they might have with their caddies. But there's times where Jordan Spieth is talking, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if it's an act. It feels like an act. He knows the camera's on him, so he wants to be that average guy who is playing in a round with you and I and saying, don't go there. Oh, bad shot. Andy, what are you doing?
Yeah, I can
Please hop over the trap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How we do that? I do that all the time. No, Matt, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
It feels like he kind of forces that a little bit for me. That's nitpicky because I don't think he's a bad dude. Anyway, Scotty Scheffler's got 21 wins already. He's the 3rd fastest to 21 career PGA Tour wins. Who are the other 2 guys ahead of him?
Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus.
Correct. Both of them.
That's all I could guess. I mean, who else did you guess?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who else you would have guessed, but he has already tied a lot of legends. He was unbelievable yesterday. His irons going into the game, going into the green, incredible. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. Andy's already tweeted out. I've retweeted it. Do you still enjoy watching college sports? Yes or no? Here's the reason I asked the question. My wife and I were out with some friends on Saturday night, and I've got a good buddy who he's almost all the way out on college athletics. He said, I can't stand it any longer. And I don't know what precipitated this. It might have been the Jaden Daniels conversation we were having. But it focused more on money than anything else. Okay. And he is so tired of it. And I said, do you think the kids don't deserve to get paid? He goes, no, I do. But I am tired of them just jumping from school to school to school. And he said, the money is outrageous. I said, how much is enough? And how much is too much? If you're going to say it's outrageous, and I don't disagree with you, you've got to at least have some idea of what the total pool should be or what a player should or should not be able to make. You think $5 million to play a college sport is too much. Then how much should it be limited to? So those are the debates we had, and that's the reason for the Mitch Lyons poll question. Do you still enjoy watching college sports? knowing how it's changed. Yes or no? Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. We'll give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. Coming up, we'll talk about that a little bit. And there's some actually encouraging news from some college football fans, from a college football coach. We'll get to that on the other side of X's and Bros here on a Monday morning, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Well.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Their worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lion season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contests or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West Michigan.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullymore and St. Ives, two world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullymore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullymoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
we're not built to like react either way. You know, I understand the magnitude of these games are big. You know, I've been a part of pennant races where I've gotten swept in September and had the same thing, and we went to the World Series. So, I just think it's part of the schedule, and there's emotions around it, and it's missed opportunities because you play these games where you can go one way or the other. We went the wrong direction, and now our path is a little bit harder, but it's still there, and we're still in the mix. So I think it in this sport, if you ride that emotional roller coaster that so many people have to outside this building, but if you do it in the clubhouse, it's hard to get to 162, man. Like you gotta have some toughness to you when things like this happen. But I know it sucks. It sucks for everybody. Doesn't help us beat Pittsburgh, though.
That's so well said. I know it's frustrating for you sometimes. I get it. I do. I really understand how emotionally charged you can be when it comes to a baseball team and whether they're good or bad. And you're trying to get an idea. I think a lot of that's what it comes down to. When you tell people, I think this team is good enough to ... You want affirmation. And this past weekend doesn't help you. Doesn't help you at all. Sure doesn't help the bullpen, right? It's like I said when we first started. Can we stop with the whole, well, if we would have had these two guys that we delivered to somebody else at the trade deadline, we would have won that series. You have no idea. You don't know that. Especially for two guys who don't throw complete games. Casey Mize never has. Derek School has one. So you feeling like that was a done deal based on what? Because they're better? Hate to tell you, Wroblewski was a really good pitcher. He was an all-star for the Dodgers, and he lost the other day. Okay? You don't – we just – there's nothing guaranteed with all this stuff. We see it all the time with really good pitchers. Chris Sale has lost. You would think he would have won his start. Paul Skeens earlier this year has lost. You would think the Pirates would have won his start. It happened. Shohei Ohtani has lost a start. You don't know. Now, do they give them better chances to win? For sure. But knowing that they're going to be out after 6 innings, which has been pretty much standard operating procedure for both of them, and knowing how bad your bullpen has been, blowing more save opportunities than anybody else in baseball, why would you think this never would have happened? There's no logic there, okay? Either that or you haven't followed the team all season long. So AJ Hinch has got I know it's frustrating for you. I know you don't want to hear it, but it's the right attitude, especially for a manager. Now, do you want to hear that publicly? Because when you walk into his office and you close the door, he'll admit what the problems are, but he's not going to do that on camera, and he's not going to do that in front of reporters. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't either. You walk in that clubhouse, again, it's not Moneyball. He's not going around to every single player, but he knows when to encourage and when to chew. He knows when to be positive and when to be realistic. And in front of the media, they've got to turn the page and go to Pittsburgh. Now, this is what I always used to ask him. That's a fine line because you don't want your players thinking, well, that's not that big of a deal. Andy, we just got swept by the White Sox. Who cares? It's not going to help us beat Pittsburgh, so let's just move on. You want it to sting a little bit. And at some point, he is, if he hasn't already, will talk to his team and say, you know what? Guys, we got to get our head out of our canals, and we've got to make up some ground here if you want to be playing deep into October.
And no question about that.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point, you got to have that message kind of sent. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Via text. And you can text to Sports Radio 21,000. You can join us in the chat as we stream live on YouTube, X, and on Facebook as well. Always welcome. Thank you. Shep, wait, the Tigers got swept? A radio analyst didn't give Chicago any credit, said the Tigers had all the bad breaks, so the Tigers lose it. Chicago didn't win it. Paraphrasing, of course. Well, I didn't hear that. And if that's the case, that's wrong. Flat out wrong. I mean, you've got to be willing to give credit where credit is due. Chicago was better. They were down 3 runs yesterday and came back and won. I don't know if people are aware of this, and this is why they deserve more credit than they're getting. They have Who leads the American League in comeback wins? Chicago, right? I mean, obviously, I set that up for you. 32 comeback wins. That's impressive. That's a team, like, we know I've given you their offensive prowess, right? They're pretty good defensively, too, by the way, which tells you something. I've given you their offensive prowess. The mind is something that's really important, too. And that's a team that they are they got power. They've got some decent speed, and they've got guys who battle. Tough at bats. But the mental aspect of things, pretty damn impressive. All right. Via text, Shep, just like to say how embarrassing when other players make errors. Dingler and McGonigal missed a foul ball on the third baseline. Our announcer said it was a hard play where both hustled hard. Okay. I was flipping back and forth between the baseball game and the golf, because I love watching Scheffler. So I missed that, but thank you for including that. I appreciate it. I think when it comes to being an announcer for a team, you have to be honest, because otherwise fans will see through it. But you have to also be, you have to be a little careful. I've always had this belief. Instead of ripping on the team you're calling for, you talk about how good the other team is. So there's a couple of different ways you could do it. If you're the announcer for the Kansas City Royals, and Ryan Lefevre is a friend of mine, really good player, a really good announcer. If you're saying, well, that's a terrible play by Bobby Witt, instead of stressing that, the easy thing to do might be, that's a play he'd like to have back. Or they just lost 10-2. Instead of focusing on why Kansas City's only scored 2 runs, you focus on why, fill in the blank, the Red Sox scored 10 runs. So I didn't hear that, but I appreciate the feedback very much. Via text again, Sports Radio 21,000. Shep, if Harris had thrown in a prospect and or a Major League Baseball player, Harris should be working with Milwaukee to get Logan Henderson for Skubal. It obviously doesn't matter now. Okay. I was of the belief, and how I felt about trading Tarik Skubal. I thought it was important to do that, number one. But number two, I thought it would have been, I wanted a Major League pitcher ready. And I don't know if you saw, but, well, Andy, did you go to the Whitecaps game yesterday?
No, I didn't, but I did see the video. I know what you're talking about. So with the injury to Brady Smith, right?
Yeah. So Brady Smith was one of the guys who came over in a trade at the trade deadline, pitching for West Michigan yesterday, and felt a twinge in his arm. I didn't follow up and see what the final results, or if there were additional information. I just know he left the game early, and I think West Michigan was up 1-0. So
sounds right. I don't see anything about his exact injury yet, though.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean that's
just arm discomfort, left game.
Okay. All right. Arm discomfort. They're not going to share it with you right away. All right. At some point, you'll get the full lowdown of everything about what's going on. Which again immediately makes your mind go right to Tommy John, who passed away yesterday at the age of 83. Mid-70s, everything changed in baseball with Tommy John, and really in sports with the Tommy John surgery and Dr. Frank Jobe. And now you have kids in high school who want to have this done. It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. All right, let me dive into this. And we welcome your phone calls, 866-838-4843. Last week, we had played the soundbite from Bryce Underwood, the quarterback of the University of Michigan. And his belief, was it on a Big Ten podcast? Or no, it was an NBC.
NBC, yep.
And he had said about Ohio State, a little misleading, because the first question he talked about Ohio State and the first answer that he gave about Ohio State was, look, it's special, and we know it's a big game and so on and so forth. Then the last one is, what do you think about the game? And he says it's just another team in another jersey, which makes a lot of people go, what, how come you don't get it? You know what I mean? Let's play that one more time. This was Bryce Underwood, and then we'll dive into what I'm referring to here in a moment. Go ahead.
It's a blessing to be in, very physical. Like I said, it's all around taxing mentally. Physically, you got to stay strong mentally. You got to stay strong physically. You can't quit. Can't give up. It's just another game, just with guys in a different color. That's how I see it.
So we edited those together, just so you know. That wasn't one long rip. The first was a question about Ohio State, and then the very end is just another jersey. It's just another team in a different jersey, was the very end talking about the game, okay? So I'm trying to be honest here, and I think that's important. The last part is where the focus most people will have. And here's the reason Andy and I decided to play those two together, is because everything people were talking about last week was focused on the last part of it. That's the only part they played.
Yeah,
they didn't play you the first part.
The first part was actually probably people wouldn't have minded hearing that. It felt like every answer he had after that, he was just like really short and like he didn't care anymore all of a sudden. It's just odd.
Yeah. If I said to you, if I just played the first part, you would say, that's my kind of guy.
Right. Yeah.
If I played to you just the last part, you go, I want that guy the hell out of here. If you're a Michigan fan, because he doesn't understand. It's not just another game. Ryan Day has done something that makes everybody in Ohio feel like he totally gets the Michigan rivalry. Did you hear what happened?
The senior day tradition getting moved to week 1.
Right. Yeah. On Friday, Ohio State announced the major change in their senior day. Instead of honoring their seniors in the final home game, which is against Michigan this year, and it's customary around the country, everybody does this, right? They come out, they have a tunnel, the seniors come out, it's their final game. Maybe it's a redshirt senior in the case of, certain players in the past, like Carson Beck. Maybe he's been there for 7 years. And their parents are waiting for them with flowers in mom's hands and, father decked out in his son's jersey. All good stuff. Great pageantry. Ohio State, instead, what they're going to do is they're going to celebrate the seniors before the season opener against Ball State, which is kind of cool because sometimes seniors get hurt during the year. This way, you're coming out in full garb. There's no crutches. There's no sweatpants or anything like that. I wouldn't want it all the time because you're playing your final game and you get the chance, at least like in Michigan State's case, kiss the Spartan logo at Breslin Center, which I think is awesome. And shows the love, right? I think Sean Respert started that. With Ohio State or anybody else in football, it's a little different. You're not bending over and kissing the ground, but you're coming out for your final game. I would prefer that, but to show you just how important it is, or maybe how nervous Ohio State can be because Michigan has beaten them 4 out of the last 5 years, maybe, just maybe, this is a way for them to avoid that. They're talking about it as it was. There's so much of a focus. They don't want any distractions. I don't know how it's a distraction that a senior comes walking out, but maybe it's more of a media thing. It's not going to prevent the media from saying asking any senior out there, listen, this is your last home game of your career. How do you feel? All week long, that's what's going to be asked, okay? But here's what Ryan Day said. It first came to me from our administration as an idea, and we talked about it. I had long conversations about it. The traditions here at Ohio State are very strong. It's something we all respect. What we don't want to do is anything that's going to disrupt those traditions. But when we look at all the things that go on that weekend, he's talking about the Michigan weekend, the way things have changed, there are some things we thought about. The first thing was we wanted to keep the focus on that game. There's already enough distractions that week. This was just one more thing we felt like we could move. That should make anybody who has been disenchanted with college athletics a little bit more excited about college athletics. That a guy and his administration feel so, whether you like him or not, feel so strongly about that matchup that most people in college football, whether you're a Michigan fan or an Ohio State fan or neither one, hold dear to your heart. That you love traditions in college athletics. That's why you were pissed that Notre Dame didn't play USC or Notre Dame didn't play Michigan or Michigan State, or you were worried that Michigan, Ohio State didn't mean anything. Now, you could argue that it sure as hell doesn't have the same meaning it did years ago. And that would be true, because you can lose to your rival and still win a national championship and feel good at the end of the year. But this is a situation where you've got a head coach and an administration and a school, a governing body, and a fan base that has said, I don't care about this one tradition of seniors. I care more about that game and that game alone. They seem to have the 365-day belief of, I can't wait to play that game. Whereas in Michigan, and perhaps I'm reading way too much into it, at Michigan, it feels like, because you don't have people closely associated with it or close enough associated with it, maybe it takes your first game to play your arch rival for you to truly understand it. Maybe it takes that first game to coach against your arch rival to fully appreciate the level of disdain one has for another. Or in Bryce Underwood's case, at least at the end of the soundbite, it was a situation where I've played in it and it means something to me, but they're really just another team. Those are not the answers Michigan fans want to hear. They want to hear or see action like what Ryan Day has done. Now, they won't admit that, but deep down inside, when he does something like this, when that school does something like this, that makes him go, or that makes many of those fans go, yes, see, that does. It matters as much to him as it matters to me. I think it matters to Bryce Underwood. I think it matters to Kyle Whittingham. But the way they answered certain questions leaves one to wonder. You watch, I guarantee you, Andy, if they happen to lose that game this year, you watch the vitriol for both those people because they didn't answer the question the way many fans feel like they should, with the type of emotion they felt.
Every Michigan fan would come back to those comments for sure.
For sure.
No question about that.
Yep. Are they just another team in another jersey now? Do you hate them now? I'm not saying to be fake, but, Kyle Whittingham saying, would it make it better if I said that I hated them? I mean, for fans, it would, right? But you don't have to phrase it that way. You could just, sometimes not even referring to a team can endear you to your fan base, because the fan base feels the exact same way. I don't want to talk about that team. I don't want anything good to happen to that team. Talking about how you like Urban Meyer and talking about how you're friends with this coach or that coach does not endear you to a fan base. I think the Ryan Day point here and doing something like that at least holds the irons hot for a little bit. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. Mondays with Mitch. Mitch Lyons joins us at 7:18 to talk about a lot of different things for sure. Always enjoy his point of view from Lions preseason game, the Tigers weekend, a whole lot more. When we come back, this is an old adage that athletes want to be movie stars and or performers and vice versa. We'll explain on the other side here on a Monday morning, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
In my pro football days, the key to winning was a great game plan. It's no different when it comes to your retirement. Hi, this is Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth. Is stock market turbulence making you question whether your plan is okay? Do the ups and downs of your retirement account give you the jitters? Are you protected against the next market downdraft? As you approach retirement, you're entering the retirement red zone. Like in football, the game changes in the red zone. There's less time for mistakes, and you need to see your blind spots and protect yourself. Is your retirement safe? Let's find out today. Let's create a game plan together that will protect, grow, and win retirement. You've worked hard to save what you have. Let's make sure you keep it. 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is worth a 15-minute call to make sure you've done all that you can to protect your retirement. Call Mitch Lyons Wealth today at 844-867-8335. That's 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com. Investment advisory services are offered through MLW Advisory Services, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a state-registered investment advisor.
Huge here for all the ABC warehouse locations in Michigan. Now, if you're looking for the best prices on TVs, furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more, you need to go to abcwarehouse.com. You can shop there and also shop in person at all ABC Warehouse locations across Michigan. For the one close to you, go to abcwarehouse.com. Best deals on TVs, appliances, furniture, and mattresses at all ABC Warehouse locations in Michigan.
Put your faves on repeat with new Meyer Subscribe. It's easy to add subscriptions with your Meyer home delivery or pickup order. From fridge and pantry to pets and paper towels, big, small, or in between. Subscribe to Purina, Pampers, and all your favorite brands. We'll shop as often as you like when you like. Just press set up a subscription while shopping and choose a frequency. We'll take care of the rest. New Meyer Subscribe keeps you supplied with what you need when you need it. Download the Meyer app to start a subscription with your home delivery or pickup order today.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Get ready for the hottest Saturdays of the summer at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Now through August, we're dropping over $1 million in free play. Every hour from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., 10 winners score $600 in free play. $1 Million Summer is back, so don't miss your shot at big summer wins. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
you'll decide whether this is funny or not. I saw on Twitter yesterday somebody was complaining about how Detroit is trying to salvage a series from the White Sox. And they started a guy who was pitching in Korea last year. And I was not a huge fan of the signing of Drew Anderson. You know that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Drew Anderson yesterday went 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. Okay. And I thought, that's very similar to Tarek Skubal against Kansas City. He went 5 innings, gave 4 hits and 3 earned runs. He just threw more pitches to get there.
That's what I tried to say in the first hour. It's like sometimes it hasn't really been that big of a difference. Like I look at the numbers.
It's crazy. Okay. He needed 94 pitches to get through the 5 innings. And Drew Anderson, who I would not rather have on the mound than Skubal, needed 74. I just found it very funny that here's the answer. And the answer,
exactly,
for the Dodgers in his first start, 6 innings, and a loss. Next start, 5 innings, 3 earned runs, and then against Milwaukee, he went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits and 2 runs. But look, I mean, at some point, my hope is people are just going to turn the damn page. Please turn the damn page. Enough is enough. All right. It's time to move on and deal with the team you have. Okay. So with that said, and they'll play Pittsburgh tonight. With that said, did you hear about the story of the football player, who is no longer choosing to play the sport? Most guys grow up wanting to, if you're playing football, I want to be a football player. I want to be an athlete of some point. Sayar Wright, you know who that is? He's a cornerback for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's leaving the team to pursue other opportunities. You know what the opportunity is? He's going to get a chance to star in a movie. Now, he's a guy.
That's a new one to me. I don't think I've heard that one yet.
He has appeared in several movies. He's appeared in Space Jam, voiceover, right? I mean, that's all cartoons. I think it's the Space Jam with LeBron James, not with the one with Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and those guys, because you got to redo everything. There's no original ideas any longer in Hollywood. You've got to remake all the movies. That's why Spider-Man is at Spider-Man number 18, right? Or whatever it is.
Might as well be 18, yeah.
Yeah, might as well be. He also it was Space Jam, what's it called? A New Legacy? I think so. Yeah. And by the way, he played Bronny James in that. Bronny James was in that. I never saw the movie, but I read about it, and that's what happened. Okay. So he has informed the Bengals that he's leaving. This reinforces to me. Now, he's not that good, right? I mean, who knows if he would even made the team? So I'm not going to sit here and blame him. It's his life. Let him go do it. Maybe he's going to make millions and millions of dollars. Maybe he's going to be The Rock. He's going to be Brock Lesnar. There have been a lot of guys who tried out for football or played football in college, tried to play in the NFL, and they didn't make it. Okay? Because The Rock played at Miami, Florida, never made it in the NFL. Brock Lesnar was playing for the Vikings in training camp. Did not make the team, but he's an amazing wrestler, right? Or just retired. Either way, I think a lot of athletes, really what they want to do is they want to be up on stage singing and performing. They want to be the rock star, the rap star, the country star, the movie star. Everybody in that field always wants to be the guy catching the game-winning touchdown, striking out the batter to end the game, or hitting the game-winning shot. I don't think many of them are envisioning a breakaway and trying to, go bar down to win a Stanley Cup game. But you get my point. What is it, if you were a football player, if you were an NFL player, what would take you away from that sport? What would you need to see? What would you need to have in order for you to leave that type of life?
It's so hard for me to say because, my dream growing up, like when I was a kid, was always to play professional sports. So
Okay.
trying to think
So
of what
you-
would take me away from it is like,
Right. What would be the one thing that people would say, okay, it wouldn't be running for office. You sure as hell don't want that. Right?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What would it be? Really, there's not much that can take that place.
I mean,
Think about it for a minute.
I don't know.
You've got we all have egos, Andy, and that's okay. I've said this forever. There's nothing wrong with having an ego. All right. Hopefully you check it when you need to check it, but we all want to be accepted and appreciated and things of that nature. You've got an opportunity to run through a tunnel in front of a sold out crowd of 65,000 people on a regular basis cheering for you. Experience the moment in a locker room that says, we just accomplished something by beating 48 other men at the sport we love more than anything else, at least in football. What a rush, right? How do you supplant that rush? It's difficult. There's not many things that can provide you with that. Maybe it's win a big hand in poker.
I was just going to say the only
don't
thing
know.
I can think of that would ever pull me away from wanting to play a professional sport is if I just won the lottery and didn't have to work for the rest of my life. That's the only, like, if that's how I felt, like I didn't want to accomplish anything, I guess.
But that wouldn't prevent you from playing your sport, probably.
No, yeah, for sure. That's the only thing I can think of.
And quite honestly, if I won the lottery, I'd still work because I enjoy my work.
Right.
So I would keep doing it. But either way, we digress. It's the rush that you have, and it's hard to supplant that. The only thing that can supplant that is performing in front of live studio audiences or live performances on stage. And I'm not talking about going down to the opera house and performing some type of play. I'm talking about in a stadium where you're on stage and you're playing in front of 50,000 people, the music that you've written and produced. It's a hard thing. Now, he's not doing that because he's going to go to Hollywood and he's going to act. But at some point, he's going to see the grand opening of his work. He's going to sit down and there's going to be people around him and they're even going to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's the closest thing you can get to the competition that he's used to using as fuel for his body. You know what I mean? So I to a certain extent, I get it. He's not Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman left his football life for war, for crying out loud, and paid the ultimate price for us. In this situation, he's leaving a football life where, it's not like he's the best cornerback in football. All right, whoever that may be. If that's Sauce Gardner, and he's not the best, but if it's that Sauce Gardner, he sure as hell isn't going to the movies. He's going to do it in addition to the movies, right? You know who else did this? Jim Brown. Now, he was a hell of a lot more established and a hell of a lot better at what he did than Say Ya Right. But Jim Brown ended his professional football career as the best running back in the history of the sport at the time, and many people still put him number one. In fact, some people would argue he's the greatest football player of all time. He left it after, 9 seasons in Cleveland to go star in movies. And he did it with Teddy Savalas and Clint Eastwood and Charles Bronson and all these guys. I think it was The Dirty Dozen. I think it might have been his first movie. I could be wrong about that. No one's ever going to confuse Say Our Right and Jim Brown, but it's not unprecedented either. When we come back, Mitch Lyons joins us. Mondays with Mitch. What would it take for him to have left football after 7 years in the National Football League as a tight end? We're brought to you this hour by Meijer.
Get ready for the hottest Saturdays of the summer at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Now through August, we're dropping over $1 million in free play. Every hour from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., 10 winners score $600 in free play. $1 Million Summer is back, so don't miss your shot at big summer wins. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn, Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Their worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lion season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contests or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West Michigan.
Get a jump on back-to-school shopping with hot deals on Meyer brand must-haves. Stock up on school supplies. More than 40 items for $1 or less. Like Meyer 70-sheet notebooks, glue sticks, 2-pocket folders, and 10-count washable markers. Plus, save on breakfast favorites, like select varieties of Meyer toaster pastries, pancake mix, and syrup. All just $1.79 each. Good life quality and real low prices. Only at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See the Meyer app for details.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
I was thinking about this the other day while watching the Lions preseason game, and then watching, I know I'm a loser, over the weekend, Lions preseason or other preseason games, and trying to figure out how much do I take into account. We welcome in a guy who's had to deal with this from a professional level, Mitch Lyons. It's Mondays with Mitch, as we always do at 7:18 on Monday mornings. Mitch Lyons Wealth. Check out their website, MitchLyonsWealth.com. Call them today, 866-85-STEEL. Sign up for the free newsletter. They've got a book that you can access. They also have a documentary that they can access. You can access as well, because Mitch is, of course, a featured expert in that documentary, Retirement Deception, to help you out. Mitch, hope you had a good weekend, my friend. So here's this is what I was looking at. Ty Simpson for the Rams, 21-25, 190 and 2 touchdowns. Drew Aller for the Steelers, your old team, 10 of 13, 153, 3 touchdowns. Anthony Richardson had a good. Zach Wilson was good for the Saints. Joe Milton was good for the Cowboys. How much should I read into preseason play, do you think?
I think there's something to be said for it. You'd much rather have your guy go out there and perform well than look overwhelmed, especially these young guys, the rookies. You know, Drew Aller, I was pretty impressed with performance. I saw some of his highlights, and he was throwing some really nice balls. So that's encouraging for them and their future. And, you know, maybe Mike McCarthy has a successor to A-Rod there. So, but I mean, overall, it's easy to get emotional in the preseason games and, you know, see somebody that maybe won't even be on your 53, you know, and have a breakout performance, so to speak. But, I don't put a lot of stock in it, but when it comes to a quarterback and making the right reads and especially a young guy, I think it's definitely a confidence booster for them as they go into the next week of practice and into their next opportunity. So it can be big for a young player for sure.
You and I have watched basketball together. We have not watched football together. Hopefully that changes this fall at Michigan State. When you do watch football, like the Lions preseason game, where were your eyes going? How do you watch it?
Yeah, well, I have a natural inclination to watch tight ends because I played tight end. But generally speaking, I mean, I'll focus in on a player or two, maybe on the line, or if I want to, I'll watch a receiver. You know how he's getting off the line. I'll watch that. Generally, I'm not just watching the ball. I'm kind of looking ahead of the ball to see, you know, who's doing what to you know, get Jahmyr Gibbs into the secondary. So, you know, kind of a blocker at heart. So I kind of generally I like to watch the guys up front.
Yeah, same here. Good. So I'm doing it the right way.
The
Tigers were swept by Chicago. How does that slow your roll on them, if at all?
Listen, not ideal, right? That's not what you wanted. We would have loved to flip the script and have swept them and been in first place, but all is not lost. I mean, we're a game out of the wild card. If we'd won one of those three, I mean, we're not nearly as dejected. Obviously, you know, playing your opponent or your rival, your guy you're chasing. It's basically a 2-game swing whether you win or lose. So it was not a good weekend. They've just got to dust themselves off, get back up, get the momentum going, how they've had it prior to that 3-game set. And, you know, they're a game out of the wild card and, you know, a lot of season left. So not panic time, but certainly we didn't get the pitching at the critical times that we've grown accustomed to of late, and just didn't get the timely hits when we needed them. And frankly, just got outplayed this weekend. That's what it boils down to. And so you dust yourself off. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. As Coach Cowher always used to say with the Steelers, you're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are. Just keep a level head and get ready for the next game.
I started the show this morning about the people on social media belaboring the Scooble Mize and never letting it go. At what point have you moved on from that, if at all?
I'm long gone. I was gone the minute it got done. And hey, it is what it is. It's over with. Move forward. And listen, starting pitching hasn't been a problem. You know, up until you know, got a little shaky this weekend. But again, it's a small subset of the season. You know, I'm looking forward to the next game and then get back in the wild card and get in, get healthy, be playing your best ball when the playoffs matter. It didn't matter that we blew the division title last year. We ended up knocking the Guardians out in the playoffs, and you know, we could do the same thing to the White Sox if we don't, you know, overcome them in the regular season. So I'm maintaining a positive slant, Shep.
Yeah, that's you know, and it starts tonight for Amber Valdez against Pittsburgh. You're right. Look, the unique thing about Detroit Chicago this year is that all 3 series have been sweeps. Chicago has swept Detroit twice. The Tigers swept the White Sox once. Do you know who Sayer Wright is for the Cincinnati Bengals?
I didn't until this weekend, but
Okay.
interesting story for sure.
What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? I think it's pretty. I mean, listen, if I'd been getting a movie, a lead movie role, and that's been my passion. You know, obviously the kid's got split. He's got a couple passions, and by all accounts, he probably wasn't going to. At least what I read, probably wasn't going to make the 53-man roster. So, I mean, hey, you get an opportunity like that dropped in your lap, and you're that passionate about something. I think you go for it. And listen, odds are he can probably come back and get picked up on a practice squad if he's good enough. But hey, who knows? Maybe he's the next Denzel Washington for all we know. I don't know. I know he's been in a number of movies. I think it's a pretty cool opportunity, and that he's talented enough to get an offer like that. I can't begrudge a guy that. Now, if he had a for sure shot or a slot on the 53-man roster, is he making that same decision? I don't know.
Yeah, if he's a starter, right?
That's
a good point. Yeah, it's a really good point. If he's a starter for Zach Taylor and the Bengals, is he making that same decision? And I get it. I think it's cool, and I'm not blaming him because others have done it. You know, I mentioned Jim Brown. He left after 9 years, and when people felt like he still had something left in him. You have noticed, though, more and more players seem to be, or more NFL players seem to be retiring earlier than most people would have thought. Luke Kuechly is a pretty good example of that.
No question. That obviously the light has been shined on, the concussion situation and just the physical toll. I think people understand it's a physical game, but you have to understand the daily toll, not even just the games, man. It's just the toll on your body it takes day after day after day, and year after year. It's a lot on your body, and guys are recognizing that and figuring out that, hey, you know what, I'm a football player. But it's not my entire life, and they're making some decisions in their best interest for the long term of their health and their family. So, get it while you can. Make as much as you can early, and maybe step away. Guys are thinking more realistically about that.
I think you wore number 85 with the Steelers.
Right.
My apologies. I forget what number you wore at MSU.
86 with Atlanta.
86 with Atlanta. What'd you wear at MSU?
I'll tell you why. I was 85 going down there. I would have worn 85 in Atlanta, but Drew Hill was about an 18-year veteran wide receiver, so I wasn't going to ask him to give up his number. I didn't think that would be good for him.
I get that. Is that the same Drew Hill? Did he play for Houston as well?
The Rams.
The Rams.
Yeah, I think he was Houston probably too.
Well,
he played a long time. Good dude.
You know the Jaden Daniels story. He's upset at LSU because they gave his number 5 to a sophomore corner who was a freshman All-American last year. So they can no longer use his name, image, and likeness. Do you think he's being too sensitive, or do you understand his point of view?
To a point. I mean, listen, whoever's running his PR is doing a really bad job. Maybe it's Jaden doing that, but why you would go public with that, I have no idea. And listen, it kind of boils down to Brian Kelly making promises that he didn't keep initially, as far as the kid coming and being able to use number 5. So, not surprising. Maybe some mixed messages from Brian Kelly there to get what Brian Kelly wants, which isn't that shocking. But Jaden Daniels, I don't know why you go public with that and why you create the distraction and the firestorm he's created now, and just really bad form. And I think it's something maybe if you'd taken a little more time and let the emotion, remove the emotion from the situation, maybe make that phone call and you have a chat and have that conversation in private, not over the public airwaves.
It's a great point. I wish more people would understand that a little bit more. Maybe we can talk a little bit later in the week and preview Lions preseason game number 2 against Washington, what you're hoping to see. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. See some starters play and see the big boys get out there. And that'll probably be the last time we see them. So that'll be a good game to watch.
That'll be fun. Okay, buddy. Have a great week. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, you as well, Shep. See ya.
All right, Mitch Lyons Wealth. Check him out today on the website. It's never too early and it's never too late. I say this to my kids all the time, to think about retirement. All right? How do you got to make sure you find the right person. MitchLyonsWealth.com. Call him today, 866-85-STEEL. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer. On the other side, baseball loses another. Would you call Tommy John a legend? We'll talk about his impact when we come back after this.
September 11th at Soaring Eagle, a hot night of soul.
Somebody sexy, tell them hey.
3-time Grammy winner Neo and the Princess of Hip Hop, Keisha Cole. Tickets start at $53 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Music that takes you there. Neo and Keisha, September 11th, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com. Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
You can't get enough Lions talk. X's and BrO's gets that and wants to deliver.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! That's what I'm talking about!
Every Tuesday at 8:35, we talk with Lions linebacker Jimmy Rolder.
Trouble and doubt. Jimmy Rolder had the fumble recovery on the first possession. A lot of sack here.
What's the mood of the team? What's the challenge with the next opponent? And what's his rookie year taught him?
Interception! This time it's Jimmy Rolder!
Lions linebacker Jimmy Rolder, every Tuesday morning on X's and BrO's, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros. Thanks for being with us here on a Monday morning. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer. Good stuff with Mitchell Lyons, as always. The perspective from an NFL player, so vital, so important. Let's not worry too much about preseason game number 1. Game number 2 might be a little different. Just because you're going to see the starters play. 8:18, we've got Hero and Heel. Get yours in now, your best and worst of the weekend. Shep, it is a trend via text. You can text us Sports Radio 21,000. You can join us in the chat as we stream live on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And you can call us on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Via text, Shep, it's a trend in football. More and more players getting out earlier to do other things or just be with family. Yeah, Andrew Luck, really good example, right? Unlike athletes 30, 40 years ago, these players make life-changing money in most of their first contracts and not now even in high school and college. Why risk CTE any longer for many of them? Just watch many athletes, how they play street, how they play. They signed second big contracts and watch that closely. Yeah, that's an excellent point. We're seeing more and more players in football. I think you're seeing more and more players extend their careers in baseball and hockey, and maybe even basketball to a certain extent. Russell Westbrook retired last week. He had a nice long career. LeBron James still playing. Now, it's, I know it depends on LeBron James is probably the exception to the rule. I'm just saying, I think you're seeing guys take better care of themselves for the most part. And because people have their own nutritionists, their own chefs, and their own workout routines and trainers and things of that nature, I think it's extending their careers. But in football, it's the brain, right? It's one thing popping an ACL or breaking a leg and coming back from that, but the brain is a completely different animal when it comes to that stuff. The CTE, you're dead on. Who's the guy who retired that you never thought, or at the time, you didn't think he would retire? Any ideas? NFL player who may have retired earlier than
Calvin Johnson was one for me.
Oh, that's a good one.
I didn't think when I was a kid, I was like, whoa, that's actually happening. And it felt like the fastest thing ever.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah, that's a really good one. Do you remember the name Chris Borland? He was a linebacker. I think he played at Wisconsin, played for San Francisco. Do you remember that?
I think I do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He was a third-round draft pick. Not that I thought he was going to be the second coming of Patrick Willis, who's another one, I might add. But Borland left after a year. He wanted to, his words, I wanted to avoid future head trauma and brain damage. So it cost him almost $3 million. I think, and this has nothing to do with CTE, but when Pat Tillman said, I'm leaving, and I know he was a seventh-round draft pick. He wasn't an all-pro, but he was a hell of a player. He really was. He was 25 years old. He turned down a 3-year, $3.5 million contract and enlisted in the U.S. Army. And then, of course, killed in friendly fire in Afghanistan. So those are a couple of names that come to mind. We were just talking with Mitch Lyons, who was a tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Heath Miller retired. I don't want to say early, but he was a 2-time Pro Bowler. He was a 2-time Super Bowl champ. And he had more left in the tank. There's no question. And he was out. Do you remember the Nigerian Nightmare? I think that's what he was called. Have you ever heard of Christian Okoye?
I don't think so.
Okay. Check out Christian Okoye on YouTube. What a rushing title in a season where everybody was thinking Barry Sanders sat a part of a game out, even though he could have won the rushing title from Christian Okoye.
I think maybe in that documentary on Barry Sanders, I actually might have heard his name when I watched that. I'm pretty sure they mentioned that.
Yeah. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Okay. He retired after 6 years of the NFL. So I think there's a Robert Smith is another one. He's a running back, former Ohio State Buckeye. Okay, played at Minnesota. He retired at the age of 27. So I think it's a great point on the part of the texter that people are leaving probably earlier than many people would have thought. How much of it has to do with CTE and how much of it has to do with others. You had mentioned Calvin Johnson, which is a great example. I think there is a chance you could also put Tiki Barber into that conversation. But either way, certain guys leaving earlier than you probably would have thought. Via text, Shep, you asked earlier, is Spieth and Thomas overrated? They're not. They just aren't hungry any longer. They're rich beyond belief, golf every day at all majors. They're not Tiger or Jack. Where has Schauffele been? Same thing as those two. What do you think about that? I don't believe that. I just don't think they're as good as Scotty Scheffler. I don't think they're as good as a lot of the up and coming younger players now, which is kind of ironic to say that with those two. It's not that I don't think they were good golfers. Obviously they are. I didn't like the fact that, you get them on Team USA because they're friends with Zach Johnson. However, because I think when you get between the white ropes in this case, I think the competition kicks in. I don't think many of them look at it and say, well, I'm going to make a lot of money no matter what, so I don't care if I win. I think they do care. I just don't think they're as good. Now, does that mean they're not putting in the effort because they have a young family now or they've made the money? That could be part of it. But to say that, they've made so much money that they don't care about the competition anymore might be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, that's not true. I still think at the end of the day, they still care about how they look as a player too. So,
yeah, I mean, Sam Burns has got plenty of money. Scotty Scheffler's got more money than all of them. Why is that? Why is it okay that, or why is it that we believe Scotty Scheffler is such a competitor? He's arguably, they said this on the broadcast yesterday, he has arguably had his best year. And yet he hasn't won like everybody thought he was going to win. You talk about pressure. He's the guy every single weekend. He's the favorite. Are you taking Scotty Scheffler or the field? I mean, Tiger Woods went through this. Jack Nicklaus went through this. There's a lot of guys who go through it. I'm not saying he's unique. I'm just saying every weekend. And he's been, look at how often he has been in the top 10, top 5. It's pretty consistent. I said this, I texted a friend of mine yesterday and listening to the golf broadcast. I don't think analysts are more negative toward their athletes than golf analysts. That's a terrible shot. I'm thinking, who the hell are you?
I think that all the time when I'm watching golf, man.
Do you notice that too?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. They're always so critical of it. And it's like,
very
you do that? Probably not.
Which is fair. I think I'm going to throw myself under the bus here, which is fair to have that opinion. But you and I say it about players. Who the hell are we?
That's also true. But
you and I will sit there and criticize a quarterback. You ever thrown a pass in the NFL? No. Have I? No. I think you can be critical. All I'm saying is
it's all
those guys.
But
yes, but those guys actually played the sport as analysts for golf, and they've probably done the same shot.
Right.
So maybe that gives them more credibility, but I just think there is absolutely no fear in ripping certain golfers and certain shots.
Golf's probably one of the most
except when it was Tiger Woods. None of them would ever say that about Tiger Woods, and that's my problem.
Sure. I think I'm the least critical when I watch golf, to be honest, because I know half the time I couldn't do those. Like whenever somebody hits it and they think it's bad, or they say, "Oh, that's not where they wanted it," I just laugh. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's terrible." What a terrible shot. Because it's I don't know, 15 feet from the hole. What they wanted to put it 5 feet from the hole. It's like one of the hardest things to do. I feel like so. Yeah.
Well, do you feel like when you play with buddies,
sure,
in your league on Thursday nights,
okay,
and you chip on, and you're still 20 feet away. How many times have you heard your buddy say, nice shot?
Oh, man.
And it's not.
So
no
many,
offense, Andy.
So many times. Many times. Because you're thinking to yourself, it should have been closer. It's all you're thinking to yourself.
Well, it probably should have been.
Probably should have been. You're
or
right. Yep.
How many times are you 100 yards away and you get it on the green, you're 25 feet away, and your buddies go, good ball, Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Nice shot.
For sure.
It's not a good shot. I say that all the time. I've got a friend who he's so positive. He's a really great guy.
You gotta try to be.
But I'll take a shot. I'll just get on the green, right? I'm on in regulation. I'm 120 yards out. You should be sticking that to within 15 feet. You would think.
Right.
You're right in the middle of the fairway. You have no problem. I hit it, and it's on the green, but I'm a long way away. Nice on. And I'll look at him and say, no, it's not. That's not good at all. I was terrible. That's a terrible shot.
That's how it feels when you're trying to keep the strokes down.
It does. That's exactly how I feel. But when you watch a golf broadcast, that's almost how you, at least that's how I feel a lot of times. You're like, wait a minute, man. I mean, why are you ripping on that guy? They did it with Sanjay Im yesterday quite a bit. I'm thinking to myself, why are you ripping on this dude? Because he came up short on that putt. He came up 2 feet short on the putt, which for you and I is basically, Andy, it's good. You know what I mean? And they're sitting there going, well, that's woefully short. What is he doing? All this other stuff. Let me get to this. Tommy John dies at the age of 83. His name associated with a surgery. Frank Jobe, Dr. Frank Jobe, 1975. And and he had a 26-year career. All right. He actually, the surgery was in 1974. It was late September 1974. Think about all the people who have had that surgery, and and it's not just pitchers. Like the assumption is, well, you got pitchers. It's this guy getting it done. Joel Zamaya, for example, Jordan Zimmerman with the Tigers. We can name a bunch of Tigers. Yeah, I would also remind you that there are a lot of guys who were not pitchers who got that. Gleyber Torres got that. So Gleyber Torres has had it. So has Justin Verlander. Right? Bryce Harper has had it. So did Spencer Turnbull. Hundreds of Major League Baseball players had it. I was counting them up not too long ago. I had, and I don't count them all at once because if you ever lose track. So you had 180. There's 230. 260, 290, 310, 350, 360. You're looking at, hundreds and hundreds of players who have had this at the major league level, not to mention the collegiate, Derek Skubal, and the high school level now. You are seeing, Chris Sale had it. Look at how much better Chris Sale is right now than perhaps he's ever been. That's why a lot of younger players are actually asking for it.
Looking into getting it before they even need it. Yeah, it's
exactly right. Before they even need it. Who would have ever thought when Tommy John went under the knife and people thought his career was over in 1974, where you take a tendon from a different part of a player's body, it could be the other forearm, it could be the knee, it could be a different part, and replace it and put it in the pitching arm, that people would soon, decades later, say, I want the same thing. Who wants to go under a knife and miss almost a full year? Jackson Jobe's coming back, or has come back. How do you feel like he's throwing? Looks pretty damn, not his last start, but looks pretty damn good, right? When you're pumping it at triple digits, throwing him, Tommy John never threw triple digits, okay? Tommy John was more like Greg Maddux than he was Randy Johnson, that's for sure. But played for two of the most storied franchises, and the most storied franchises, I would guess, in all of Major League Baseball, at least from a World Series standpoint, with the Yankees and the Dodgers. Interesting that he pitched for the Dodgers against the Yankees in the World Series, and then later on would pitch for the Yankees. Anyway, you look at that whole scenario, and you see a guy who just was able to salvage his career because of that surgery. And then you see young guys getting it done to strengthen their career early on in their professional lives, or at least sometimes in their high school lives. Think about Tommy John. In 1974, he has that surgery. He misses all of 1975. From 1974, he was 31 years old, okay, when he got the surgery. He pitched until he was 46, Andy. 46 years old. He pitched longer with it than he did without it. He pitched for 26 years.
It's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
26 years. That's a long time to be throwing a baseball.
Never would have guessed that.
No, I don't know how you could.
Never. And especially with a guy who goes under the knife. Back then, you used to think, okay, no matter what happens, if you're going under the knife, your career is going to be over. Football, Billy Sims. Billy Sims was an incredible running back. Trust me when I tell you this. Not because he won the Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma, but look at some of the highlights of Billy Sims. You would look at him and you're like, oh my God. Like, everybody is in awe of Jahmyr Gibbs. And I understand why. I watched him at practice yesterday. He is a phenomenal player. There's no doubt about that. He's not Barry Sanders, but he's a phenomenal player. Billy Sims, you could have argued, had he stayed healthy, would have been better than both of them. That's how good Billy Sims was. Blew out the knee. Today, you can come back. You can come back from ACLs and MCLs. Back then, you couldn't. And that was in the 80s, right? So it's great that we've seen things evolve and we've seen things get better. Tommy John and Frank Jobe. Frank Jobe probably doesn't get nearly enough credit. Garrett Cole had a good soundbite yesterday after the passing of Tommy John. When somebody asked him about it, he mentioned the two together. I hope more and more people are mentioning the doctor instead of just the patient. To have Tommy John surgery, which is, pretty wild that you're named after a person. To have Tommy John surgery, how come it's not Frank Jobe surgery? How come Frank Jobe isn't getting more credit? How many people know that it's the Dr. Frank Jobe and not just always focusing on Tommy John? But an amazing player, really was an amazing player, and a guy who was a 4-time All-Star. And if you think about it, when you look at the All-Star bids, how many times was he an All-Star after he had the Tommy John? Guess what? All of them. He was an All-Star. 3 of the 4 times he was an All-Star was after he had Tommy John surgery. He never got Cy Young votes until he got the Tommy John surgery. I'm not trying to convince you to do it. I'm just giving you the facts of Tommy John's 26-year career. Okay, final hour of the program coming up, 8:18. We got Hero and Heel. One professional athlete has come out with an awful lot of swagger. He's always played with a lot of swagger. I'd love your opinion on his recent statement. It's an NBA player. We'll get to that when we come back on X's and Bros here on a Monday morning, brought to you by Meyer.
You can't get enough Lions talk. X's and Bros gets that and wants to deliver.
Touchdown Detroit Lions! That's what I'm talking about!
Every Tuesday at 8:35, we talk with Lions linebacker Jimmy Rolder.
There's a trouble and don't. Jimmy Rolder had the fumble recovery on the first possession. A lot of sack here.
What's the mood of the team? What's the challenge with the next opponent? And what's his rookie year taught him?
Interception! This time it's Jimmy Rolder!
Lions linebacker Jimmy Rolder, every Tuesday morning on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for the incredible Crystal Mountain Resort in Thompsonville, Michigan. If you've never experienced the mountain, it's unbelievable. They offer up 36 holes of championship golf, Betsy Valley, Mountain Ridge, accommodations, a ton of choices. Go to crystalmountain.com, see everything for yourself. One of the top spas in America. They can handle businesses, small groups, big groups, your buddies, the ladies, and more. Book your getaway now at crystalmountain.com. That's crystalmountain.com. Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn, Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Our worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lion season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contest or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West Michigan.
Pump up the points at Meijer and save money on fuel faster with M-Perks. This Friday through Sunday only, earn 4 times M-Perks points when you buy select products from Simply Drinks, Dr. Pepper, plus deposit where applicable, and Lysol brands. To pump up your points, simply enter your M-Perks ID before checkout, and your extra points will be added automatically. Look for new items every other week, turning your everyday shopping into real fuel savings. That's the good life at Meijer. Fuel reward must be claimed to redeem. Fuel rewards are not redeemable in Wisconsin. See mperks.com for details.
You know, we're fortunate here in Michigan. We have some of the greatest golf courses in the country. Tullymore and St. Ives is part of the reason we can brag the way we do about our golf. Once you visit Tullymore, you'll keep coming back. The view is breathtaking. The golf is fantastic. The accommodations are regal, and the people are special. It really does feel like a home away from home at Tullymore. Make your play and stay reservations today by going to tullymoregolf.com or by calling 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837.
Yeah, I was shocked for sure. You never know when it's going to happen, but definitely excited when I heard it was Detroit. So I remember we came here for a joint practice last year. I remember the environment, and it was really cool. So I was definitely excited once I learned it was Detroit, and I'm just happy to be back in the Midwest.
That's Juice Scruggs, who could be the starting center for the Lions to start the year anyway. Welcome back. X's and BrO's, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. When he says back in the Midwest, remember, he played at Penn State. He was the center at Penn State. So he's got plenty of experience at that position. Second-round pick of Houston comes here in the David Montgomery trade. So hopefully Juice Scruggs will be ready to go, 6'3", 310-pound center, ready to go, and perhaps ready enough to play with the first teamers this coming weekend in the only home preseason game of the year against Washington. Welcome back. X's and BrO's, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Via text, Shep Borland's a good answer. He was in on Defensive Player of the Year discussion in his first year or two. He was a stud. No, he wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't a stud. He was a good player. He was never in Defensive Player of the Year discussion. First of all, he only played 1 year. So he didn't play a year or two. He played 1 year. He was never in Defensive Player of the Year conversations. That year, J.J. Watt, not T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt had 20 and a half sacks. He was the Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald was Defensive Rookie of the Year. Ravens linebacker C.J. Mosley was number 2 in Defensive Player of the Year. The third leading vote getter in defensive Rookie of the Year was Aaron Donald. C.J. Mosley was number 2. And number 3 was Khalil Mack out of Buffalo. He was third in Defensive Rookie of the Year. Chris Borland was a good player for San Francisco. He was never in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. You might have been thinking he was in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think he would have beat out any of those other 3 guys considering what they did in their first season. Shep, Frank Ragnow, Barry Sanders. Oh man, how did I forget that? Excellent. Perfect answer to the question. Frank Ragnow, 7 years. Now, his wasn't CTE, but that probably played a factor, right? Had to have played a factor.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. So 7 years. He retired. He was a, 4-time Pro Bowler, I think. And Barry Sanders after 10 years, of course. Yeah, man. Living through that, losing a guy like that, I still think at times this town, the state, Lions fans everywhere, are still, they're not bitter toward the individual. They're bitter for what they lost with Barry Sanders. Tough to, get on board with James Stewart when you had Barry Sanders, right? James Jones was a good player, but he wasn't Barry Sanders. If you think about it, Lions, we've had a lot of former Heisman Trophy winners signed up for the Lions. We have. Steve Owens was a Heisman Trophy winner. Barry Sanders, Billy Sims. There have been Andre Ware. We have had guys, Gino Torella. There are guys who have won Heismans. Ty Detmer at the highest collegiate level, come to the Lions and not been who we thought they were going to be. Some guys were, but from a running back standpoint, Steve Owens won the Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma, but no one, when you think of great running backs, you don't think of Steve Owens in the National Football League history. But if you had Barry Sims and Barry Sanders and now Jahmyr Gibbs, and Gibbs obviously didn't win the Heisman, but Gibbs is considered a top 2 at his position. Barry Sanders considered tops at his position. I know there are some people in Dallas who argued Emmitt Smith. That's bullcrap. Okay, Barry Sanders much better than Emmitt Smith. And you've got, at least in my opinion, and then obviously Billy Sims, who was just a phenomenal. Those are 3 damn running backs, 3 damn good running backs who you could argue were as good. Give me another franchise, Andy. This is putting you on the spot. Give me another franchise who's had a trio of running backs like that. Dallas has had Tony Dorsett, and they had Herschel Walker, and Emmitt Smith. That's pretty damn good too.
Yeah, you can't.
Give me the best. Give me the best running backs from a franchise in history. This just came to me for no reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of like who historically had 3 running backs like that. I mean, yeah, it's tough to compete with what the Lions have had.
I mean, okay, Gale Sayers and Walter Payton.
I was going to say the Bears is the other team I was kind of thinking of, but
were you thinking of Gale Sayers?
I was just thinking Walter Payton. I was trying to think of who else they had.
Okay, well, so Gale Sayers played back in the 1960s. All right, Gale Sayers is a Hall of Famer. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, or All Pro. Only went over 1,000 yards twice in his career. Like when I tell you he didn't gain 5,000 yards in a career, and he's in the Hall of Fame, you'd be like, "Are you what? What?" Yeah, I mean there was 1 year. His last 2 years, Andy, he played 4 games. So really, of the 7 years he played in the National Football League, really only 5. Seriously,
wow.
only 5. So he had 867, over 1,200 yards, 880, 856. Now the 856 was in 9 games, and 1,000 yards. So there's nothing, he's not. It's not the same situation as obviously a Barry Sanders, or maybe perhaps a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs coming. Billy Sims, that I'm bragging about, only played 5 years too. He had 3 years of over 1,000 yards. Okay. His first year, he led the league as a rookie in touchdowns with 13. So, I mean, he was offensive rookie of the year in his first year. He was second team All-Pro. The next year, he was second team All-Pro. He was 4th in offensive player of the year with 1,400 yards. Okay. And 13 touchdowns. He had 26 touchdowns the first 2 years. He's a great player, man, until the knee injury. But if you think about it, I'm trying to like San Francisco. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's really good right now. Roger Craig is the be all end all. Frank Gore, really good, right? Those are 3 guys in San Francisco. I'm trying to think of the best running back combos of all time, and where the Lions might rank in a situation like that. New England. If I said New England, give me the running backs for New England.
Like
Curtis Martin?
Great. Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
I don't know if I can tell you.
Exactly. I mean, you're struggling a little bit when it comes to that. Lions pretty damn good if Jahmyr Gibbs continues en route to what we've seen so far, right? Yeah. I guess Dallas could put Calvin Hill in there too, but nobody considers him great. It won't be long before the NBA starts to tip things off again. The Spurs played in the championship last year and lost to the Knicks, as you know. 2 years ago, Oklahoma City won it all, beating Indiana. Those 2 teams, I would guess, will be the favorites in the Western Conference this year. Can you think of anybody else who would be? If I said to you, fork to nose right now, who's the favorite? You would say, I mean, those 2 were the 1-2 punch in the West this year.
I would love to hear the argument if you didn't think those 2. It was one of those 2.
Minnesota was a 6 seed last year. Anthony Edwards has come out, and there's a part of me that loves the bravado of him, right? They've acquired LaMelo Ball, which is fine. But Edwards said, against those 2 teams, I think we're going to beat them, referring to the Thunder and the Spurs. I mean, what else would you expect? I hope so. I hope he would say that, right? I'm talking with me, everybody, the whole gang, okay, is what he said in terms of his belief in his team. It would mean a lot to win a championship. I don't think we're thinking about winning a championship. It's a step by step, but we got LaMelo, a new player, and a bunch of new pieces. We're going to build it together, and I think we're going to get it all together. That's the best part about me. I am the same person no matter who's with me. He believes that his team is better than San Antonio and Oklahoma City. It's one thing believing, and that's fine. I hope every player believes in that. Hell, we as fans feel that way. Saying it unprovoked, I think, is a little different. And I don't know where the hell he gets this from, in the belief that his team's going to be better than those other 2 teams that have two studs that are going to be studs for a long time. When we come back, hero and heel. Stay with us. We want your best and worst of the weekend here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. Eduardo Valencia is having one of the best power debuts we've seen by a Tigers rookie in a long, long time. In his first 52 Major League at-bats, Valencia's hit .400 with 6 home runs and 6 doubles. You couldn't be happier for him. Valencia's a special young man, identified early not as a top prospect, but as someone who had the people skills and the baseball knowledge to be a coach someday. When he was signed at 18, he was raw, but the talent was there. He had bat speed. He had a big frame he was growing into. He had to overcome injuries. He didn't get a lot of at-bats for several years. He worked hard on his catching skills, and then slowly all the pieces started to come together. The power started to come. His game-calling abilities improved, and when he got his chance, he was ready. The Tigers have been looking for that right-handed power threat off the bench all year. Valencia is now filling that role very nicely.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Back with you, 18 after the hour. Every Monday we give you Hero and Heel. It's the best and the worst of the weekend. Love yours as well. If you can feed us through text at Sports Radio 21,000 or on the Meyer hotline 866-838-4843. You can also join us in the chat. We always welcome that. Thank you for some time here on X's and Bros as we stream live on YouTube, X, and on Facebook. Let's get to those. My hero is Joshua Baez of the St. Louis Cardinals. This is easy. Really is. 23-year-old homer to center field on the first pitch he saw in the major leagues. This is Saturday, okay, in Chicago against the Cubs. He then homered to left on his second at-bat. Homering again off former Tiger Matthew Boyd. And then in his third at-bat as well. All against Matthew Boyd. Baez became the first Cardinal to homer in his first at-bat since Lane Thomas in June of 2019. And the first major leaguer to ever homer in his first 3 major league at-bats. He drove in 5 in the Cardinals' 8-4 win over the Cubs. Cooperstown wanted his spikes. You know what the problem with that is, Andy? They weren't his spikes to give away. They were Blaze Jordans. You see, Baez was called up from the minors that day. Arrived in dirty cleats. Everybody thinks A.J. Hinch putting certain guys in, and they deliver right away. Way to go, Max Clark. What a smart move. He's not the only one who does it. St. Louis, other teams do it because they don't want players to sit and think. Baez performed, but he didn't have the right cleats. He came in with dirty cleats. He didn't come in with the right belt, and he had white batting gloves. So the team helped him. They gave him Blaze Jordan's extra red cleats. They gave him some batting gloves and Jose Fermin's batting gloves, and they gave him a red belt. Cooperstown wants the spikes. Don't know if they're going to get them because they weren't his to give away, but it doesn't mean we can't give away our hero of the weekend to Joshua Baez. How about you, Andy?
I like that one. Yeah, my hero is Scotty Scheffler, just because I think he deserves it with the weekend that he had, winning the FedEx St. Jude Championship at a -17. He was 8 strokes better than anybody else. It's his first victory since January, and in round 2 he carded a 61 with only 2 bogeys. Started the round with 5 birdies. I think to shoot that low with 2 bogeys is absolutely insane to me. Meaning, you got 11 birdies throughout the round. He shot a 66 Sunday to win, and obviously he won the entire weekend in putting, basically, which is a lot of the reason why he did the job. So, yeah, Scotty Scheffler just deserves it with the kind of effort he had. He even had a sprinkler head. I don't know if you saw that. Kind of make his weekend tougher when he chipped onto that. That would drive me absolutely nuts if I was in that position.
Because it was a great shot.
It was. It was going to be perfect. So, I think that he overcame that. But, overall, just a great weekend and played so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know if people saw this, but it was the 3rd hole. He was in the bunker, which isn't a bit of a deal for any of those guys. Those guys are so good. They're comes out so soft.
Right.
He's supposed to hit it just before the green because it would have been tough to stop. He hit it just before the green, but it bounced off a sprinkler head, rolled across the green, and rolled into the water. He then chipped up out of the water and putted, and instead of carding what we thought would have been an easy birdie or at least a par on the par 5, he ended up with a bogey. Sam Burns, his playing partner, had a double bogey on that hole. Scotty Scheffler just used that as motivation and torched the field by 8 strokes.
Seriously.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. That's a really good one. And actually, who is it? Sullen Prince in the chat agrees with you. Hero Scotty winning the FedEx by 8 strokes. Okay. Shooting a 61 on Friday.
61.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Dude, I mean, seriously, that 5 bogeys start the round and you get 2 birdies and you get 2 bogeys and you still do the job like that. It's just, that's nuts to me.
His ability to bounce back from a rough hole has always been one of his biggest strengths. Also in the chat, that was the hero for Sullen Prince. And then his heel is the Tigers. They blew a chance to close the gap in the division. Agreed with that. I completely understand where you're coming from. My heel, even though they're only 5.5 back and they're only 1.5 back in the final wild card, but you're dead on. I completely understand why people would feel like the Tigers because of the opportunity. You didn't expect them. I bet you Sullen Prince didn't expect them to sweep the White Sox, but did expect them to gain some ground. And I think it was fair.
Large series at home and he gets swept.
And you had Jackson Jobe and you had Troy Melton pitching, I think it was fair to expect that. My heel is me. Friday, I was playing around with some friends, and on the third hole, one of my friends went out of bounds on the left side into some woods. As I'm driving by in the cart and I looked to my left, I said to my partner next to me, I said, let's just look for Nick's ball here just to take a quick pass by. I don't like looking for lost golf balls too long, but if I'm driving by and I see it, then I'll go in and get it for him. I see 2 golf balls right there. I hop onto a log, jump down, grab both golf balls, hop back on the same log, and try to jump down, caught my ankle, twisted it, wrenched it, severely sprained it, blew up like a cantaloupe.
Oh my goodness, man! That's
means
tough.
I could not finish the round. Couldn't play the next day. I don't even know if I'll have an opportunity to play the next time I'm supposed to play at the end of the week because of how bad it hurts right now. The doctor, when I went to the doctor for something else, which was, I went to the doctor on Friday morning because I have another ailment. And I said to him, what can I, diverticulitis, in case you're wondering. And I said, can I go to the gym? I was going to go to the gym. He's like, don't go to the gym. I wouldn't exercise for 3 days. I said, what about playing golf? He said, no, I wouldn't. And I said, well, you're not me. And he started laughing. I went and played golf. Had I listened to the doctor's advice, I wouldn't have sprained my ankle.
That's probably true.
But I went out and I did it anyway. And like an idiot, that's what I'm dealing with now. So I will take the heel because I've worsened my situation.
I can't blame you. I still would have tried to play golf too. That's been my fear for weeks now. My golf trip coming up in a not this week, but the next one. I'm like, just don't get hurt. Just a little bit longer.
Yeah. What's the point of looking for the golf balls? No, I'm serious.
No, it's
how much are they? They're $2.50, $3.
Yeah, whatever they are.
What am I doing? I've got to. I was trying to be a good teammate and guess what? I grabbed both those golf balls. I threw them out. Neither one of them were my friend's golf ball. That pissed me off even more. Go ahead.
I get it. My heel of the weekend is Kyle Tucker. What I don't know.
He got booed.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it. It's an absolute joke to me. He was hitless for the Dodgers in their 7-game homestand, which is 0 for 19. He did 2 walks, if you want to count that for anything. And he dropped that ball in right field yesterday that obviously everybody was talking about. Crowd started booing him at home. A lot of that is because he's been hitting 192 at home this season, which is absolutely miserable. His OPS in the season is .566, and he's being paid a contract's worth $240 million, I believe. So yeah, it's just not a good look for Kyle Tucker, and it's ended up being one of the worst free agent signings you could have thought of. So
his WAR this year, Andy, is 0.3.
It's crazy. You're spending that much on him. It's nuts.
I look. How many people wanted him as Tiger fans?
So a lot of people would have been wrong. Anybody would have been happy they got Kyle Tucker signed to their team. I feel.
Well, and I don't even know if that makes you wrong. Okay, he's a 6-time All-Star.
Right.
He's a 2-time Silver Slugger. He's a Gold Glove right fielder. But the WAR is astonishing to me. The 0.3, it blows my mind. If last year, Andy, he was a 4.5 WAR. The year before, he was a 4.6 WAR. The 2 years before that, he was a 5.5 WAR player in each of those previous 2 years. He's a 27.5 WAR player. And this year, he's 0.3. That's how bad he has been. I don't know what it is, but that's a really good one on your part. Hero and Heel every Monday, 8:18 here on X's and Bros. All right, when we come back, we wrap things up. And we talk about some of the concerns that a friend of mine had Saturday night at dinner regarding sports in general. We'll talk about that and what I had mentioned, Joshua Baez. Compare his debut to maybe a few other historical names. We'll get to that when we return on X's and Bros. Stay with us.
The good life isn't about more. It's about making what you have work better. You work hard for your money, so you shouldn't have to work hard to save it. At Meijer, you'll find all the good stuff in one stop with guaranteed fresh produce and Meijer brand faves. Quality so good, we put our name on it. And with M-Perks, you earn rewards to save on what you actually buy. Trust it's worth bringing home and live a life you love. Good life quality at real low prices. Only at Meijer.
You can't get enough Lions talk. X's and Bros gets that and wants to deliver.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! That's what I'm talking about!
Every Tuesday at 8:35, we talk with Lions linebacker Jimmy Rolder.
There's a trouble and dumped. Jimmy Rolder had the fumble recovery on the first possession. A sack here.
What's the mood of the team? What's the challenge with the next opponent? And what's his rookie year taught him?
Another interception. This time it's Jimmy Rolder.
Lions linebacker Jimmy Rolder every Tuesday morning on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In my pro football days, the key to winning was a great game plan. It's no different when it comes to your retirement. Hi, this is Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth. Is stock market turbulence making you question whether your plan is okay? Do the ups and downs of your retirement account give you the jitters? Are you protected against the next market downdraft? As you approach retirement, you're entering the retirement red zone. Like in football, the game changes in the red zone. There's less time for mistakes, and you need to see your blind spots and protect yourself. Is your retirement safe? Let's find out today. Let's create a game plan together that will protect, grow, and win retirement. You've worked hard to save what you have. Let's make sure you keep it. 30 to 40 years of saving for retirement is worth a 15-minute call to make sure you've done all that you can to protect your retirement. Call Mitch Lyons Wealth today at 844-867-8335. That's 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com. Investment advisory services are offered to MLW Advisory Services, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a state-registered investment advisor.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The huge show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Back with you on X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Thank you for some of your time on a Monday morning. We're brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Our Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question: do you still enjoy watching college sports? Yes or no? Friends of mine on Saturday do not. I do. I think you're going to change it. They are big MSU fans, but they're having a hard time watching any college sports because of the money that's associated with it. Now, I would like to mention that they're probably closer in the minority. Think about this. Somebody had put this out about what we had talked about earlier in the show about the Ryan Day situation. How he's moving senior day from the last game against Michigan to the season opener against Ball State because he wants no distractions, fewer distractions in the game against Michigan. Somebody had said that this is not even close to the best rivalry in college football. Somebody on social media said it's the Iron Bowl is much better. And then that person just got lambasted. But part of the support somebody had for Michigan-Ohio State being a better rivalry is that they had last year 18.4 million viewers of that game. 18.4 million. Alabama and Auburn had 7.2. So more than double. Okay. My point is, just those two games alone, I mean, you're looking at 26 million people watching those two college football games.
People are still watching college sports. I mean,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, every year we talk about this. It seems like the top shows on TV are sports related. So, Andy, I said this to a buddy of mine. I said, hey, if you're not going to watch them, are you going to complain about them?
You shouldn't be able to at that point. I was.
Yeah. So he's a big Michigan State fan. I said, do you like the hiring of Mark D'Antoni? Are you invested? Or Pat Fitzgerald. I said, Mark. Yeah. Are you invested in the program? I said, Michigan State basketball is going to be really good this year. You know that, right? Oh, yeah, I know. And he starts naming all these guys. Says, so you are invested. So you do follow it. You can be upset all you want at it. I don't know how much it's going to change. And I don't know how much you and I protesting about it will change. How do you protest? Did you read the article on Dusty May by chance, Andy? Dusty May, they asked him, why did you leave college basketball? He went to the Big Ten meetings with coaches, and he recognized nothing's changing.
Yeah.
He thought it was going to change.
He thinks it's really, like there's no change in near. The tunnel is a long way away from being any kind of change when it comes to that stuff.
Exactly. So he did something about it. What he said was, enough is enough. I'm out. How many people do you know who complain about college athletics say, I'm out?
Oh, all the time. It's been a common thing lately, last couple of years.
I don't think they are.
I don't either. They still watch. You're still going to watch the sport. You can complain about it all you want, but you're not going to stop. That's what you do with your Saturday when it comes to college football, right?
100%. If you're a sports fan.
Exactly. You're not going to just change your whole life because of that. It's just not going to happen.
Right. You're going to keep your season tickets. You're going to get together with buddies. You're going to go to tailgates. You're going to read about them. You're going to follow them. And you know what? If you don't at the beginning of the season, all it would take is a 3-0 start for you to get back on board. Or a friend of yours saying, you know what? Andy and I went to the game last week. Man, it was awesome. We did this. And then you think to yourself, see, I missed that. You can only rake so many leaves in the fall. You can get pissed off about the Lions all you want and say, you know what? I'm done. And maybe this is where it stems from, Andy. When you used to be mad at the Lions, it's because I can't believe we're paying this guy all that money, blah, blah. College, you could never get that, truly have that same type of emotional anger. And the reason you couldn't is because you felt like these are just kids. They're trying to balance life at the collegiate level, academics and athletics. And now everybody is convinced, A, the kids don't go to class, which is incorrect, and B, they get paid way too much money. So you can have the same feelings toward them that you have toward the NFL, which is hard to argue. But don't give me this that the kids don't go to class and all. I was at a golf outing not too long ago. My son, who works in college athletics, was part of our foursome, and the guys around the table were all saying the same thing. They're like, these kids don't go to class. And my son usually doesn't say a whole lot. My son's like, what makes you say that? Because I just don't think they go. Yeah, but what makes you say that? I mean, this just, I'm going to throw this up in the air and let it float for a while. And my son said, absolutely, they go to class. And here's why. And he starts naming off all these. And these guys are all like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, no kidding, you didn't know that. But their fallback was, yeah, but they make too much money. See, you see your prices go up, and you see their income go up, and you don't see as much change as you think they need to, nor do you feel the same sense of urgency, hi, Bryce Underwood, against certain teams that you feel. And that's where I think a lot of fans are coming from, and I completely understand why they feel that way. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I do understand why they feel that way. In the chat, college football is my favorite sport. I love it because it's different from the NFL. Please stop trying to make it the NFL 2.0. How is it different? How's college football different from the NFL now?
It feels like it's the same.
No, I'm serious.
Moving that direction.
Let me ask you this. Can an NFL player sign a one-year deal?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep.
The Lions just signed 13 of them.
Yep,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, right.
So they can go from 1 year to the next, right, to a different team. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. Can they do it in college?
They can.
Okay. Do NFL players get paid?
Yep.
Do college players get paid?
Sure do.
Okay. How often, maybe the person in the chat is correct. I don't mean to make it sound like it's the NFL, but to say it's NFL 2.0 might not be a really big reach. How many players truly feel like they were part of a college atmosphere today compared to 20 years ago? Certain guys say, that's my school. Jim Miller is a Michigan State grad, and he's proud of it. You've got guys who are bouncing from one school to the next, to the next, to the next. Some are playing in 4 different schools in 5 years. It's free agency. You're going where the money takes you. Is that not what the NFL or professional sports has oftentimes, not always, have oftentimes done? It's not me who's telling you it's NFL 2.0. It's the NCAA that is. It's the kids. It's the organizations. It's the schools. Kids never had agents before. Do kids have agents? Yep. Does the NFL have agents? Yep. Ask any college football coach one of the things that they despise. College athletics, not even just college football. Ask any of them what has turned them off as much as anything else. You know what they'll tell you? They have to deal with agents. They used to deal with mom and dad and the kid. Now they deal with agents and maybe a little bit of the kid. You got guys signing letters of intent and then bailing because they got more money elsewhere. You don't want to believe it's NFL 2.0, that's fine. But you're living in a bit of a fantasy if you don't think it is. Now, it's not for every player, and every NFL player is. But the NFL has 53 members on their team, 48 dress on Sunday. College football has 90. So there is a difference in that regard. But it's as close to NFL 2.0 as it has ever been, at least so far. Shep, schedule and playoff format mostly. I like my national championship undefeated. Same here. But you're right. Look at the playoff format. Look at how they have extended it. Now, is that the sports fault? Is that college football's fault? Probably not. The NCAA and its TV ratings. But that's another thing that college football has in common with the NFL. It has succumbed to the almighty dollar from television ratings and, to a certain extent, radio property rights. I'm not saying I wouldn't have taken it either. If I'm a team, I need the money. Yes. Okay. Come on, man. It doesn't mean you have to hate it. It doesn't mean it's evil. But don't tell me that it's not the NFL, because it's pretty damn close to the NFL. College baseball isn't like that. College basketball and college football have become professional sports. It's hard to argue that. Give me the debate against it. Again, I'm not asking you to dislike it. I love college football too. I love the atmosphere. I love the pride that fans have and past players coming back. I love all of that. My frustration is you have guys who are now leaving after a year. Like, nobody says that about Arch Manning. Arch Manning could have left Texas 2 years ago and said, screw it, I'm going to go someplace else where I'm going to play right away. He stayed. This is not a Trinidad Chambliss situation where he's leaving Ferris State, wins a national championship, and goes to an SEC program. Nobody can blame him for that. But guys leaving after a year? Oh, what the hell is going on here? That's why so many people view it as close to professional sports as anything else. I had mentioned Joshua Baez earlier as my hero for homering in his first 3 at-bats. CBS Sports came up with some pretty good comparisons. Willie McCovey in his debut, 4 for 4, 2 triples and a double. Juan Marichal in his rookie debut, okay? 9 innings, 1 hit, 12 Ks. He was 4 outs away from becoming the second pitcher to throw a no-hitter in their major league debut. Bert Campaneris, who I hated as a kid in his rookie debut, 3 for 4, 2 homers, and a stolen bag. A little bit closer to home because some of you are a lot younger. Steven Strasburg in his debut as a rookie. So highly anticipated, all right? 14 strikeouts in 7 innings. Third most by a debut. Only J.R. Richard and Carl Spooner had more. And lastly, Aaron Judge, okay? Aaron Judge in his debut, 2 for 4, a homer, and an RBI. There you go. Just for perspective. All right, let's get to final results of the poll question and the Daily Wager. We give you one every single day. The Daily Wager brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their sportsbook Ascend. Check that out. They've got great burgers, and I mean that. They do. I don't use the word great very often. They've got great burgers, and it's a perfect place to go watch the Tigers and the Pirates tonight. Framber Valdez gets the start for the Tigers tonight. Is there, Andy, do you know if there's an NFL preseason game tonight?
I don't think so. No, I didn't hear that.
Well, you just never know with TV. I mean, it could be
seriously.
Instead of playing on a Saturday or a Sunday, they may take it to a Monday and screw everything up. So you just never know. I think the next one is, and I don't know if you saw the some of the lines for some of the former players, or some of the young players, I should say. Thursday is the next one. It's the Raiders in Houston on ESPN. Okay, so you got TV. I mean, you and I will probably be excited about it. We get a chance to watch football. Ty Simpson was really good, 21 to 25, 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. Make people change their mind about what a steal it was in a first-round pick for Ty Simpson out of Alabama? Probably not. Drew Aller out of Penn State. You weren't impressed with him when he played in the Big Ten.
No.
But he was 10 for 13, 153 yards, and 3 scores for Pittsburgh. Zach Wilson, when he came out of BYU, man, I love the way that kid threw. But what a disappointment he was for the Jets. For the Saints the other day, 11 to 16, 145. Joe Milton, speaking of college football and transferring left and right, Joe Milton started at Michigan, ended at Tennessee, 12 for 15, 107 yards and a touchdown. Interesting, wasn't it? Absolutely. I don't know how I got on that rant, but you got a chance to watch some football Thursday at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Let's look at the Daily Wager. How'd you do over the weekend? Oh, another win. That's back to back.
That was good.
Nice.
Well, Victor Hovland almost blew it for me. I picked him to finish in the top 20. By the end of the weekend, he ended up finishing tied for 19th. So you still hit that bet. He had a +2 yesterday, so he didn't play great, but got the job done for what the bet was worth. Anyway,
I'd take a +2 any day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be just fine for me. For today, I am going with the Tigers and Pirates are starting a series tonight. Obviously, we know about Framber Valdez's struggles at times this year. But the pitcher tonight, I'm probably going to butcher this last name, but Mladzinski, Cameron Mladzinski. He has had an ERA of 15, over 15 his last 2 starts. So I'm taking the over 8 runs in the game combined tonight.
Over 8 runs combined between the Tigers.
2 teams. Yep.
Okay. So
they get 9 total runs.
You're hoping the Tigers are going to score. You're hoping that the Tigers win a high scoring game.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. Like even if they won 5-4, it'd be enough. So
gotcha. And it's Majinski, just so you're
okay. Had
Majinski.
No clue how to say.
So think of the gin, okay, because you like to drink gin. Gin and ski at the end. Majinski is how you say it. Okay, and how about the final results of the poll question? Our Mitch Lineswell poll question from Friday. Will the Tigers be on top of the AL Central after the weekend? Yes or no? Obviously, they were 2.5 back. They had to sweep the White Sox in order to get in first place by a half game. What did the majority say?
It was 66% no and 34% yes. So a lot of people knew what was coming,
smart people. Yep. Okay. We have a Mitch Lineswell poll question out there. Do you still enjoy watching college sports? So a lot of this comes from our experiences, and that's why we brought it up. Somebody was a little late going in with a hero. Go ahead.
It's from me. So I just have an additional hero because you told your story about your ankle injury this weekend. So it just made me think about what I did this weekend. So I went up north this weekend for something we've been planning all summer with me and a buddy who I met through a friend that I had in college. She was going to get engaged to him this weekend, so he was having me help plan. He plays dodgeball competitively, and like a week ago, he got a high ankle sprain playing dodgeball the week before his proposal. And he was limping around everywhere this weekend, and he still got through it and made the proposal happen. It was a big thing on their dock up north, which is it's a special place to my buddy Colin is who I'm talking about here. So I just want to give Colin and Kenzie a shout out for being engaged. I think it's pretty cool.
All right, way to go, Colin.
He pushed through
Kenzie.
it. And Colin listens every day. So
and I hope Colin is icing and elevating the ankle.
He's supposed to be doing that. That's for sure. I don't know if that's exactly what he was doing this weekend after he just got engaged, but I'm hoping he does more of that now.
Yeah. I was hoping he was doing more than that too. I would tell you this, mine has moved from my ankle to the higher ankle now as I try to walk around.
Yeah, he was telling me about a bunch of different spots on his.
Yeah, you're supposed to stay off it. I was an idiot. On Saturday, I shot a TV documentary, and I was walking a golf course with somebody limping, and I actually walking in the woods doing another interview, part of that doc. And then yesterday, I was walking around Lions practice.
It's I mean, Colin's already asking me if he can, or he was asking Katie, my fiance, because she's a medical professional, was asking if he could already play dodgeball again in a week. So that's not going to happen for him.
Well, he's a young guy; he might be able to respond pretty quick. But the jab steps may be few and far between. Yeah, I wish Katie were here so she could actually give me some advice on my ankle. We'll give you some advice tomorrow. Join us 6:00 here on X's and Bros. Jimmy Roller, 8:35. The former Michigan linebacker and current Lions linebacker joins us. Don't forget the huge show today at 3. Thanks for watching.
In the Den with Dan Dickerson.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined.
Eduardo Valencia is having one of the best power debuts we've seen by a Tigers rookie in a long, long time. In his first 52 Major League at-bats, Valencia's hit 400 with 6 home runs and 6 doubles. You couldn't be happier for him. Valencia's a special young man, identified early not as a top prospect, but as someone who had the people skills and the baseball knowledge to be a coach someday. When he was signed at 18, he was raw, but the talent was there. He had bat speed.